On Thursday, the St. Petersburg City Council voted for the first time on parts of the plan to build a new raised baseball stadium and redevelop the surrounding gas plant area. 5 city council members voted in favor, 3 opposed. In addition to the 3 city council members, a number of community members spoke against the project.
This is our money. This is public wealth, and we're giving it to a private corporation.
This feels like a train coming out of the station, and I think all of us don't know how to stop it.
We are making decisions based on drafts and not final documents.
We're setting these public hearing dates, and we could get there, and the documents still aren't ready.
Supporters say it's a deal that will benefit both the Rays and the city of St. Petersburg.
The Rays are going to be a great partner going forward.
It's not perfect. Continue to perfect it, work with it, but let's get this done.
We're excited about what the opportunities are.
A final series of votes is scheduled July 11th, but that could be delayed. Bob, you've been in position, you've dealt with the Rays too. What do you think of the deal that the way you understand it in St. Pete?
You know, Rob, I spent 3 years dealing with the Rays. I liked them all individually as persons. They were tough to deal with because I could never get a commitment out of them. Obviously, the situation in St. Pete is entirely different, and they have done all the things that they refuse to do here in Tampa in terms of bringing in a world-class developer and developing the properties around it to help pay for it. This is a complicated deal. This is a very, very expensive deal. I'm not sure at the end of the day that the taxpayers aren't going to bear a significant burden over that 30-year life of this deal. I don't see a lot of revenues being returned back to the city as the way this particular deal is structured. I think the redevelopment of that site and the 80 acres is the envy of every mayor in the country in terms of the potential there. I think done correctly, it could be a game changer, to use an overused word, for St. Petersburg. But I think the inability to capture any of that revenue and return some of it to the taxpayers is problematic in this deal. And I think only time will tell. I think it will pass. I think it's a 5-3 vote right now. I don't see anything changing there. So I think we're going to see that come out of the ground by 28. But I think when history looks at this, I think they will say they should have struck a harder deal with the Rays on this one.
And Travis, there is a lot of opposition in St. Pete. What's your take?
As former chairman of the Chamber of Review Board, I was on the Rays 100 when Bob was dealing with a lot of this, and a little bit of exasperation, just like Groundhog Day, But I'm kind of glad that it's kind of punted over to Pinellas County, because given the economic environment right now with massive inflation, taxpayers are not going to be in a real good mood. So I'm sure if someone were to hypothetically be back in the mayor's office, they would be glad that they wouldn't have to deal with this sort of thing, because it's going to be a tough one for them. I would expect a lot of people over there to not be happy in St. Pete, Pinellas County.
Alex, some of the opponents say it's a taxpayer subsidy to wealthy team owners. The project will not be the benefits of the project will not be spread citywide. There's no guarantee that all the affordable housing promised will be built. City is selling the land too cheaply, some say. They say the deal is being rushed through. Supporters say, look, you're not going to get another team if this team loses.
Right.
And you've got a quality company that's co-sponsoring the deal. The Heinz Corporation is. So,
I think it's all about accountability. As the former CFO of the state, I was always looking at these contracts and these deals, and it's what is the deal, but then in the future, who's going to hold the players accountable to achieve the amount of affordable housing they're promising and the other development aspects of it? I think it's an exciting project for downtown St. Pete. It is going to be transformative. We need to keep the Rays. Let's talk about the impact that the Rays have on the whole region. It would be horrible for us to lose the Rays as their commitments to the community. The 2 principals that we hear from, Matt Silverman and Brian Auld, they get moved here in their late 20s. They've raised their family here. They live in this community. They're invested in the community. It's not like we're dealing with people from other places who are just trying to suck money out of our community. So I think it's very, very exciting. And to put on top of that, Mayor Welch, an African-American mayor who grew up in that district, is going to hold them accountable to achieve the vision for what his community was promised before.
And Deborah, we hear from the opponents who say the city should be a tougher negotiator. They should get more out of this deal than they're getting right now.
Absolutely. And I look at everything through my background, business, marketing, social sciences, mediation, and I think it's a bad deal. You can do better in mediation. I think they did not follow the demographics, the market. When you don't follow the market, you can have a great corner, great location, but if the demographics aren't there, Pinellas is not an area that supports sports. They support more of the arts and performing and other things, certainly water sports, education. And so I thought Tampa was a better placement because the demographics, the market, the opportunity was there. So I think it's a bad deal for Pinellas. And when 30,000 people attend the congressional baseball game, but you can't get 15,000 in St. Petersburg.
We all thought Tampa
End
was
of
better.
story.
Bob, what do you think of that? I mean, would Tampa
money
in
wasn't
the
gonna
end have
work
been
out,
a better
was it?
place?
Tampa would have been a better place, and I think the numbers prove Tampa was a better place, more centrally located, more ideally located in a very walkable downtown urban environment. But the reality of this is, with the exception of owners like a Jerry Jones, this is municipal extortion. It always has been, it always will be. The demand for these teams is so high that cities will do whatever it takes to keep them or to attract them. So the deals are never going to be to the taxpayers' benefit. But you have to look at the long-term positive impact of having a team on your region. I think Alex is exactly right. We don't want to lose the Rays. We want to support the Rays. We would have liked to have had a deal that would inure some benefits back to the taxpayers, either helping pay down the debt. There will be some affordable housing involved in this deal. A lot of it will be off-site, not on that particular location. So, you got to weigh all of this stuff. And at the end of the day, I'd rather keep them than lose them. And hope and pray that the scale of that development on that 70 acres over 30 years will have a net positive impact for the city of Tampa. But in the short term, the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for a lot of money.
Let me ask you all this. Is one of the problems with the location of the stadium the fact that we do not have a good transportation system in the Tampa Bay, Sarasota area?
There's
Yeah, there's probably 20 issues that involve that, Rob.
transportation.
All right.
But that is part of it. You got to connect the dots.